As I assembled this book, a complex puzzle depicting the history of a powerful institution conniving with America's omnipresent house guest, white supremacy, police officers snatched another black soul.
On March 13, 2020, in Louisville, Kentucky, 3 white men, plainclothes police officers, exited an unmarked car minutes past midnight
and prowled through darkness to an apartment's front door.
Inside, a black woman, Breonna Taylor, and her boyfriend, a black man, Kenneth Walker III, had settled into bed to watch a movie. The Louisville Metro Police Department was investigating Jamarcus Glover, who had dated Taylor off and on over a few years, for selling drugs from a house miles away. The police obtained a search warrant for Taylor's apartment by lying to a judge, alleging that Glover had received suspicious packages there. Taylor had dozed off on her first day off after a string of 12-hour shifts working as a hospital emergency room technician. Walker neared sleep too, but banging on the front door jolted them both. "Who is it?" Taylor screamed.
She and Walker heard no response.
"Who is it?" Walker yelled multiple times.
Nothing.
As they stood at the end of the long hallway that led to the front door, Walker fetched his licensed handgun. The officers, meanwhile, unleashed a battering ram.
Thump, thump, thump. The front door burst off its hinges.
Fearing that Glover was breaking in, Walker shot toward the door, aiming down to avoid killing the intruder. That round struck Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly's thigh. Detective Brett Hankinson returned fire into a window and sliding glass patio door, both shrouded by blinds. Detective Miles Cosgrove and Mattingly also sprayed gunfire inside. Bullets ripped through Taylor's apartment and an adjacent one where a 5-year-old child, a pregnant mother, and her boyfriend were slumbering.
Taylor, radiantly brown-skinned and cherub-faced, lay on the floor, shot 5 times, coughing, gasping for air, bleeding.
Her slain, and the untold numbers of snatched souls whose deaths have echoed the same sorrow since slave ships crisscrossed the Atlantic, illustrate the depravity of America's racial caste system, a racial hierarchy enforced through law, rules, and norms that confines the black population into a subordinate legal, political, and social status.
From womb to grave.
Devaluation spanning 4 centuries empowers police, empowers anyone to vent such violence.
Comeuppance too infrequently punishes the hands that break black skin.
Police victims' families who sue the cities that employ such homicidal officers may witness another way the legal system debases black life. In wrongful death lawsuits, plaintiffs and defendants hire experts to calculate damages, and they can consider race. In a lead poisoning case concerning a black male victim, for example, an expert can present calculations reflecting that black men, on average, earn lower salaries.
And courts have accepted them,
breeding a perverse incentive where a transgressor, like a toxic waste dump company, should prefer black targets because courts have recognized them as cheaper victims.
Judges condone the appraisal of black life as literally worth less. Yet, our past bequeathed us the makings of a much fairer present. In March 1875, the Republican Party relinquished control of a chamber of Congress for the first time since a mortar shot scintillated the sky above Fort Sumter in April 1861.
For 10 years after the Civil War's close in 1865, Republican legislators, over the complaints of a Democratic Party dedicated to black subjection, had converted the Constitution from slavery's mercenary into a gatekeeper for liberty. The constitutional trinity, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, birthed then, could have produced complete black freedom. But a new racial caste system formed instead. And more than the presidency or Congress, the Supreme Court of the United States must be branded as the most indispensable ally of caste preservationists, those who establish as an objective the eternal primacy of the white population.
The 9 black robes have drained the trinity of its transformational potential,
constantly infusing caste preservationists with the special euphoria they experience when relishing triumphs that preserve their coveted white over black world. This has left caste abolitionists, those who establish as an objective the destruction of the racial caste system, sullen with unfinished business.
Our sweeping historical journey will stalk the interplay between caste abolitionists, the black robes, and caste preservationists.
Whereas caste abolitionists have petitioned the justices to invest the Trinity with enough force to destroy the racial caste system, caste preservationists have insisted that it harbors only the most modest of ambitions.
When calling upon the fuller range of legal instruments for complete emancipation that Congress created during Reconstruction, a period lasting from 1863 to 1877, caste abolitionists have frequently beheld justices ignoring their pleas.
Caste preservationists have taken note and been emboldened in their pursuit and maintenance of caste work, caste producing and sustaining laws, policies, and actions, believing correctly that the judiciary will likely allow their misdeeds.
A cycle fueling black despair. One cannot overstate the stakes. Unless the Trinity awakens truly for the first time, full liberation will never dethrone King Caste.
Reform how the Supreme Court constructs the Constitution. In other words, what legal effect the court gives constitutional language, or suffer inside the dungeon that caste built. The boulevard to black salvation cuts through the Constitution and the Supreme Court.
The court stole the Trinity away from the cause of freedom, and black folk paid for that heist. Still do, although they need not always.
Ignorance of this theft prevents full comprehension of why the color line has proven stubborn, and ignorance about this renders one unarmed in the battle for racial progress.
The Supreme Court chose the trail that culminates in black suffering. The justices could have chosen another.
This book narrates how the court, for more than 150 years, aided and abetted caste preservationists, best positioned as the Constitution's final arbiter to tug the nation into compliance with its purported principles. The court instead helped a land betray its virtuous self-image.
Repeatedly petitioned by black folk with praying palms to make real the nation's founding conceit, the God-created equality of all, the black robes colluded with the architects of caste.
Discover how America reached this predicament, an endeavor that includes directions for how the nation might enter glory.
When the Civil War concluded, black folk had entertained lofty hopes. Follow me into our past.